Hey guys, Brossiah here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a video showing you how to beat Shatterplay as MLP with a Paladin healer. Now, the overall strategy is pretty basic. You're going to want to open Shaman, force some cooldowns, get off and go on the Mage for a bit, and eventually set up a swap onto the Shaman once his cooldowns have been used for the kill. Now, as the Mage, your job is going to be pretty simple. You're basically just going to be trying to put out as much damage as possible the entire match, while making sure you don't overextend so you don't get globaled, and making sure your Paladin doesn't get globaled by the Mage and the Shadow Priest. Now the opener against Shatterplay is pretty basic. You're going to start on a Vizd, and you're going to open hard on the Shaman. The reason you're opening on the Shaman at the beginning is you want to force some sort of cooldown usage on their part, whether that be NS, Trinket, or even possibly Spirit Link. With that being said, there's a couple things you need to watch out for as the Mage to make sure you do have a strong opener on the Shaman. First and foremost, grounding. If grounding is already down before you've already come out of Invis, you need to communicate that with either your Paladin or your Warlock and have one of them knock it down beforehand. If grounding hasn't been laid down already, you're going to be fine on your opener. The only thing you need to watch out for in that situation is the follow-up deep freeze and making sure that doesn't get grounded. In that case, open up with your usual Frostbolt, Iceland, Shatter, and then wait about a global to see if he drops down grounding. If he does, knock it down with a quick Fire Blast, and if not, follow it up with a deep freeze. The second and third thing you need to watch out for in the opener go hand in hand, which is positioning and your opponent's spell locks. Now, in regards to positioning and opponent's spell locks, the main thing you want to watch out for is where you pop out with that initial shatter. Now, you want to pop out in a spot where the Shaman isn't just a sidestep away from line of sight your initial Frostbolt. And you also don't want to pop out in line of sight or in proximity of the spell locks or any sort of CC, which in this case, the only thing you need to watch out for is Counterspell, Shadow Priest Silence, and Fear. Now, let's rewind this clip back to my original opener on the Shaman. As you can see on the opener, I'm able to open on the opposite side of the tomb from the Mage and Shadow Priest, so I don't have to worry about getting feared or counterspelled at all. And the Shaman's in the middle of the tomb, so I don't have to worry about him line of sighting my initial Frostbolt cast. Now, with no grounding throwdown after the initial shatter, I'm able to put a deep freeze on the Shaman right away, which he trinkets. This is exactly the kind of cooldown usage you're looking for when you open on the Shaman. Now that you force this trinket, you guys are going to switch to the Mage in order to prevent damage while you wait to make an eventual swap onto the Shaman for the kill. Now, when it comes to preventing damage while on the Mage, two things you need to watch out for is how you're using your ice blocks and how you're using your spell locks. When it comes to spell locks, you and your Warlock just need to communicate to make sure you're not spell locking the same target at the same time. And when you're using your ice block, you need to do what I just did there, which is prevent damage while your Paladin's CC'd. Now, my Paladin trinketed the silence, but I was still able to avoid massive damage by blocking at 45% to prevent the shatter from the Mage. Now, here's the most important part of the game, the swap. Having an effective swap comes down to a couple things, namely communication and cooldowns. You and your Warlock need to tell each other when your Deep Freeze, Hallow Terror, and Spell Locks are all up, and you're in a position to use them. The goal is to Deep Freeze the Shaman while Hallow Terroring his teammates, rendering him unable to tremor them out, making it essentially a 3-on-1. You then want to follow up that Deep Freeze immediately with a Counterspell, a Death Coil, a Spell Lock, and even a Hodge if your Paladin is in position to do so. If done correctly, there is no way the Shaman is going to be able to survive. And if he does, well, get off the Shaman, go back on the Mage, and repeat again once you're ready. Now let's watch the swap at full speed. As you can see, we deep howl both his teammates, followed up with a Counterspell, then a Death Coil, and then a Hodge. He's not even able to get off his Spirit Link even though he still had it up. Now let's watch the match one final time from beginning to end at full speed.